Welcome everyone to another episode of Planet Nomads. This is actually my second recording for this episode because as I was editing the first one, I just wasn't feeling it and I decided to scrap it all and start again. And basically, the rundown of what I did is I did a lot of experimenting right here using this as a testing platform because I do want to build a mobile base. I want to have something I can take all around the planet and explore, and I decided to start building my own. But I don't really know how big I want it to be or anything like that, so I was more focused on testing mechanics. I tested building mining rigs to serve as the landing feet and legs of the design. I tested a winching system for pulling a mining rig into underside belly of the design, and tested the winch system with a self-contained floating water purification system, kind of like that, and had success and had failures on different things. So ultimately I know what I want to do, and I'm starting to toy with the platform setup here for it, and we'll build basically the starting foundation and slowly work my way towards that. But I didn't really make any progress during that because with all the failures I just felt like I didn't get anything really done. So instead we're going to work on some of the other stuff I've been prepping. One thing is this direction is going to be access to a water purification deuterium production tower, which I will do later. And this is going to be my growing area, my farming area is what I want this to be. And I had ideas. I've already tested with these a bit, and I know what limitations I'm going to have for this to work the way I'm wanting it to. But this is basically what I am going to work on for this episode, however long it ends up being after I get done with it. So to create a nicer look to the corners on this one compared to what I did on the previous, I'm actually using this longer slope and placing it like that with fillers there and then just the regular one there. So it gives, it's not an even curve, but it's also not this sloping exactly even all the way across. So it gives a kind of curving look to it, which is nice, but it's not like a smooth curve that we might want, but it at least works. So my goal with this is I want to do an intermixed setup of the greenhouses with rows of plants, like the planter pots, and make it feel more like, yes, there is this combination of, we have these greenhouses that automate things, but at the same time also having kind of the traditional farming feel where we have a row of plants that we planted in dirt and that it looks like they're growing from a little, you know, row of planting sections. So I need to intermix that, and one of the things that this is going to be affected by is the access to the conveyor jack on it. All right, yeah, it's gonna be just me connecting that in and building some kind of a connection, you know, basis around it. Let's see, maybe this will work well enough. How's that? I usually don't build the ceiling panels sideways. That doesn't look too bad. It's very plain. But I mean, there is only so much I can do in this in terms of visuals for something like that. I do want to have something like this at least that then connects above. Surely that's not a collision element. Look at that. That's going over it. I bet it is treating it like it's colliding with it even though it shouldn't be. So yeah, that is causing a collision that is so low. And I mean, honestly, if I was going to use that, I could just do this. And it's a similar effect. It's actually a little lower. Gives a little bit different of a texture on the outside. That looks very plain. I don't think I'm going to use that. I may end up just using the same old tricks of something with this, you know, kind of block style to create the look I want, which of course means a lot of this element. Actually, I could forego that and just do something like this. It will line up right. It's still just so buggy at times with the alignments on this. And instead of leaving this completely exposed, I just do like a cover of sorts with the other blocks that covers up that part and everything, and then it shows it inside. Huh. Let's see, what does this do now? Yeah, okay, so that clears. I just don't like the idea of it being that tall. So that is the minimum height that will let me build an overhanging, glass curve or corner type thing to it. So I could, if I wanted to, expose the entire back end, which I really don't like the idea of that. I could probably get by with this on the side. Yeah, because that's the perfect height there. It would just show the connections behind. I could do that. It would work, but I don't like the idea of showing the connections. I don't want to have it so far out that I build some kind of cover over the connections and then put the glass above that. I really don't want this to be over the top large, because that's large enough. We'll do glass panels on the top area. So yeah, this is how high I need it to be across the board. So yeah, once this is all done, it will be an enclosure over there. So basically I'll walk in, and this will still be part of an inside part, track. This is not going to be something that's completely separate. I'll be going into a building here that then will have a connection that feeds out into this. This will be like kind of the walkway between the two. Here is going to be the food and drink machine area, which is more than enough space for that. And then this is going to be the actual growing areas. So at least greenhouses on this side, going along this way. If I get to line up right, it'll be like that. Just maximizing how much I can squeeze in here. And I want this to be a longer build anyway. I want this to be feeding over here, so probably out to this. I'm thinking maybe 4 on each side total. That way it will go a decent way out here and kind of do a wraparound almost to that production site. And then I'll either do another row here of that or stick with my other idea. And the other idea being that I'm going to have, again, rows of planters coming like this. So I would have, there's this filler row here. So if I was walking along, I'd feel like, okay, I could walk up here and do stuff with it. And of course, I can walk on the plants, though. Generally, you probably don't want to do that if you're actually trying to grow stuff. But the idea would be, it creates that look almost of a farm where you have just rows of plants being produced. And I would just have yet another row here. Maybe 2 between each. Maybe even extend that out a little bit more. Like do another row there and then have 2 rows of these in the middle. And then have another row, 2 rows, and then do something like that where it just extends outwards like that. And it feels like a real farm. This is why I've got a lot of purified water being made right now, and I've got a little stockpile of biomass containers that are separate from the rest of my production chain, specifically for the fact that otherwise they'll get used by my production system over there, producing a massive amount of the composite parts. So yeah, basically like this. I have a nice walking path. I can walk along. I've got this. And then along the entire length will be the little planter pots stuck in the ground, almost like, yes, it is a farming setup. And it just feels more realistic to me this way. I just find this much more of an enjoyable look to it than just a sterile, like, here's these little enclosed greenhouses. Yes, from a functionality standpoint, that's all you need. These are really more cosmetic and can be useful for certain things, like, a little extra biomass container here and there, but for looks, they're just much better. And I'm not worried about production level on this because I've already got that pretty much covered. I do not need that much food production really for myself. So this is entirely about the cosmetics here. And now I'm out of seeds. So this is going to be an expensive element right here in terms of the build because of the certain items I need. But the good thing is when these grow to full maturity height, I can harvest them, which will give me seeds and herbs and things like that, and I can continue making more. For now, I'm gonna work on this part though. So I finally got everything connected in, and that last piece of conveyor made it take about 4 minutes for it to finally complete the build and connect everything in. And there goes stuttering again like that. Yeah, this game is not optimized for big builds. I'm sorry, it just really is not. So it's a new day, and I decided to take a quick break from building so I can show you that I did rebuild some of the sun tracking solar things. And you can see how one's moving really quickly, one started, was slow, and then they swapped up as the sun started to rise into that magic zone where it actually starts to lock in better. It's honestly, even with it acting weird like this, it still produces a lot of power. I was like 400 something hours of usage with just the deuterium and my existing solar panels over there. And when I added this, it put me at over 800 during the high time of day when I was getting the most solar power. So I really think between the two of these, I could almost power everything just off of those and the little bit I have over here. And maybe just, if I really need to, I could have more. I could always expand and do a third or fourth, or even do an entire row over there of those, and just have it like a whole set of them going over here, be completely solar powered, not even worry about deuterium or anything like that, and be just, eco-friendly if I really wanted to. But so far, I've gotten a good bit done on this. I've gotten basically the track done for that and this side. So this will be another row of 2 plants on each side. And you see how they're growing in, how nice that is going to look once they are fully grown in. And so it'd just be like, all right, I'm walking here between the rows of plants. And yes, you could walk on them, but if you step on them, break them, you just lost a plant. So we're gonna treat it like you want to walk between them. Plenty of room for that. So that's one side. Now, if I do this side the same way, basically I just need another gap over here for that, and then I could do another row of greenhouses. I don't think I'm going to do another row of greenhouses. Instead, I think what I'll do is have that, and then over here I'll have something else, maybe a storage thing, like, some storage boxes to make it look like I'm storing water or whatever, something decorative, and then just end it right here. So it's not going super far out because I don't want it to extend too far. I just want it to be right here, and then focus on doing the glass overhead and everything like that. Really, in terms of utility, these actually do provide some utility. It's not the fastest thing. It's not automatic. You have to go and gather from each plant. But it means I don't have to go out exploring, looking for plants to gather from when I need some herbs or seeds or fruitage, things like that. Instead, I will have this here. So besides the extra cosmetic element, it is going to provide some utility to have a lot of this when I do need something like that. But, realistically, I'm never going to need that. I've got plenty of meat from just going out trying to get trophies. I'm making superfood and the electrolyte water, so I'm not having to worry about my stockpile there. I'm actually on my way to being able to make plenty of excess on it. So this is more so for the cosmetics than anything else, but same time, if you are looking for a good utility for just having a few of these, they work well if you need seeds and such as that available. It just helps a little bit with that. Obviously, I'm not getting a lot, but I am getting some. So yeah, this is useful. Have maybe, between 1 and 5 plants in a design, just so you have something like that. Maybe get a little extra biomass here and there. Really, this is the only thing I can see beyond the fruitage plants. This is the only way to get endless biomass containers in the game. You're just not going to get a lot of them. So I have the other side started, at least in terms of the greenhouses. So those are ready. Everything's ready to start with that. This should be the even distance between them. And you see that everything's growing in. What I'm really missing now is seeds. And I've got more purified water being made. I've also got that one with the refinery shut off, so it's making purified water. If I really need to, I can shut the refinery off there and make a lot of purified water. But for now, I'm not going to worry about powering anything with this. And later I'll still get to building something with that. But this is soon going to be enclosed. Then I have the entire length there and 2 full lengths on the other side to do. So yeah, this is going to take a while for all of the plants at least to get filled in. But now it's a question of cosmetics on this side, because I was going to do just the top piece, you know, from here where I built that as the maximum height. But now I'm thinking I kind of want to do a sideways window like that just above the spot where you see those pieces. So like instead of there where you can come in and look down and see that, put it right here. It is going to raise the roof a little bit higher, but that would let me see at least the top of the greenhouse. So from like the side over here, you know, once this is taken care of, you'll still be able to see the tops of the greenhouse, and then from there extend over. So I think I am going to go that route and trim this back down a little bit. So I have a full crop that has come in here to harvest again, because this grows fairly quickly actually. And then I just gotta play with the cosmetics. I think really I'm gonna focus more on trying to get this part done, the interior, and then I will just worry about cosmetics externally after the fact, much like I've done with the mining setup over here where I have it in place and I'm going to build something that encloses it, but I'm going to build around it. And then once I have these done, I'll just need to pipe some power here and really focus on matching something of that style to right here and doing the food and drink machines, so I can have a bunch of food and drink machines going. And you know, I may actually do like a water purifier or 2 in there just to help tie that in. So I really don't know yet, but I'm getting hungry. I mean thirsty.
Hydration secured.
See, I've got plenty of food and water right now. I don't even have to worry about sleeping because I've got so much. But yeah, this is so random on the lagging again. That's making things a lot slower. And like I said, when I connected all of these in, it took about 4 minutes for it to just complete that connection. So I have not even connected this side in yet because I know it's going to do the same thing. It's going to take 4 minutes for that to connect and tie it into the rest of the production chain. So I'm trying to avoid doing that right now, and then I'll come back this way and use that to connect everything in and do a connection along here for the food and drink machines, and just do some cosmetic adjustments around this. I might do something similar to this shape for this spot, but do it kind of more of an inverted design. This I'm still not sure about. I know how I want the interior to look. It's the exterior part I'm not sure about. But I've got a lot of work to do with this. I've got a lot more testing work to do on the idea on how to start my mobile base. And the way I see it is I'll finally get to where I have the mobile base finished. Once I have my own design, it's built with all these different components and working the way I want and tested. And of course, I put it on the workshop for everybody at that point. Once I have that done, that'll pretty much be the point where we take it, we explore the rest of the planet as much as we can. At some point, go in and say, we're building the teleporter pad to get off of this planet, and we'll finish the story and call it an end to this season. But for now, this is going to be an end to this episode of Planet Nomads. So if you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button, leave me a comment below, and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Spicy. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to keep it spicy this week, and I will see you in the next video.